Welcome to the Acquisition HQ podcast, where we interview founders of companies that are running companies anywhere between 2 to 50 million in EBITDA, operators that have exited companies just like yourself, Chris, as well as M&A service providers that are wanting to help people walk through deals. Today we have a special episode, and it's going to be covering over Christopher Warren here and his creation of Byrd. Please explain to us a little bit more about Byrd and what you guys are doing there with your nonprofit organization.
Cool. Well, thank you, Nathan. Thanks for coming out. I'm looking forward to tonight. We're hanging out at Acquisition IQ in Sacramento tonight. I'm looking forward to it. So Byrd is a nonprofit organization, and we got set up over the last year. We've been in sort of stealth mode, and we're coming out right now. We're having our launch dinner in April. And the vision is giving away at no cost financial empowerment information, education, tools, and resources. So what we want to do and what we want to provide is all of the things that are behind paywalls today that can teach people, hey, what should be budgeting priorities? What is daily compounding interest? What are these credit cards actually charging? How does a payday loan operate? What are actual smart investments? How do I save for a house? Should I save for a house?
Let's pause just right there real quick and get a little bit of backstory about what you created prior to you stepping into the role as founder of Byrd.
Okay. Just
to make sure that those out there know who you are and what you built.
For sure. So I have a background in finance, and it's been a journey in finance, but most recently I scaled and exited a company called Debt.help that we sold to National Debt Relief. And this is sort of where I had a really firsthand look at the problem of debt in America. Mm-hmm. And right now Americans have $1.4 trillion in credit card debt, about $1.5 trillion in high interest auto debt, another 1.7 trillion in student loans. And so while we helped over 30,000 customers from 2023 to our exit in 2025, I got a real sense of the despair and the hurt, not just of sort of the debt these families were under, but the sort of general misunderstanding of how the financial system is working and how they are living in that financial system and ecosystem. And I felt called to provide more than just the paid services of debt relief. I felt to get involved at sort of an earlier level, to intervene in the situation earlier.
Can you share with us a little bit more based on your interviews? Because I'm sure you've interviewed a lot of various families, as they come in to your company. What was one of the major problems that they were facing? And I'm probably sure you've seen it over and over again. So it was lack of education, number one.
Yeah.
But also, what were some other areas that they didn't have that got them into the debt that they were facing?
So typically, generally, I'm not speaking for everyone, but generally people ended up needing Debt.help services for one of two reasons. Either they made poor consumption choices with a lack of financial planning or education, or some bad circumstances befell them. Maybe not caused by them, definitely not chosen by them. Someone got sick, someone got fired, someone passed away. So it's either good chunk chose or made poor choices, and then a good chunk things happened. And sometimes when bad things happened, some poor choices were then made because there were no good choices. And I think some of the solutions that are out there don't put that out as a possibility, that sometimes people only have bad choices that are available to them. Mm-hmm. And so then the question becomes one of triage. Well, what's the least harmful bad choice? And I've seen a lot of bad decisions made right there at that moment. Like recognizing that all the choices available to me today are bad. Which one is going to hurt me and my family the least long-term financially? And then over here on the other side of consumption choices, I'm not saying education will solve people's desire to have the fastest boat or the next toy, but at least if they can know more about what the long-term consequences of that might look like, maybe that will help.
Well, we know that there are fundamentals in anything, right?
Yep.
There's fundamentals in the sports we play to weightlifting. You got to know what a protein, carbohydrate, and fat is.
Yep.
So within finance, can you share with us what the core financial fundamentals are that you guys will be teaching at Byrd and some of the good choices that people can make within your organization?
Right. And so here's where I'm going to sound a little trite. And here's where I'm going to sound a little like something on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
But the fundamental concept here is zero-sum budgeting, which simply means do not spend more than you make or bringing in revenue. And that might sound really simple, but sometimes it's easy for us to sort of slip into habits that don't support that. Let me give you an example. I use a credit card for points in my mind. I buy a cheeseburger on DoorDash, right? And so that cheeseburger at the restaurant would be $13, but I pay $22 for it because I use DoorDash, and then I put it on a credit card. Now, if I'm an executive and I'm making $150 or $200 an hour, there's a time value play that could be argued there.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm a college student, or maybe my son who's 18, and is transitioning from high school to junior college, I don't know if his time's worth, $150 an hour yet. But he wants the points on the credit card in his mind, so he uses the credit card, buys the DoorDash, and has it delivered to the house. Well, over the next 6 months, he maxes out that credit card at $4,000. And that credit card is charging him 28.9% daily compounding interest. And it takes him 11.4 years to pay that credit card off, because that is the average length of time right now an American takes to pay off a maxed out credit card. That $13 cheeseburger that he paid $22 for became $139 in payback with interest. And so you're looking at a 5x multiple on a delivered cheeseburger that was supposed to be $13. And people say, Chris, that's an extreme example. Not really. Not really. If there's $1.4 trillion in credit card debt, I'm sure there was a lot of Ubers and DoorDashes and concierge services that went into that. I'm not saying those services don't have value. They do. But that's an example of that fundamental zero-sum budgeting. Am I spending more than I make? And if I'm not, I'm paying off that credit card in full every month to get the point value. If that's your play it, but it needs to be paid off in full at the end of the month.
Strategically allocated, though.
Absolutely.
Share with me a little bit more on your insight as to the credit card companies and how they operate, because I think more people would need to know about exactly how they make their money off of the people that you're trying to help.
They target us early. And I mean us because they don't care about our gender, they don't care about our color, they don't care about our religion, they don't care about our preferences, and they are going to start targeting us early. One of the first times I had an offer, I was a freshman in college, and it was for a finance program through Circuit City, a store that doesn't even exist anymore, for a flat screen TV for my room. And I could walk out of Circuit City with that TV with no money down. And it was
I had a Macy's credit card.
Right. And so they attack us when we're young, and they get their hooks in and they build us into these patterns. And they say, well, Chris, everyone has a choice. It sounds like you're not a capitalist. No, I'm a capitalist. I just think the participants should be fully informed, fully aware of what's going on. And they say, oh, it's 0% interest on an introductory APR. What happens when you go over that term period? You read the fine print. That interest at 28 or 30% interest goes back to day zero. And so then if you don't get it paid off because you didn't use zero-sum budgeting, right, and you just said, oh, I'll get to it later, but later never happened, then your car broke down, then you needed new tires, credit card didn't get paid off, TV didn't get paid off. Well, that interest gets accrued all the way back to day zero, and it compounds daily. So it's not 28% a year. Every day that there's a balance, they're compounding the interest. Right? Ends up to a 29, 30% APR, and that's what their average credit card is right now in America. And then if you're late, there's going to be a fee.
Yeah,
and
more
if you
penalties.
And some of these other like subprime credit card companies like Credit One, they charge you $4 to make an ACH payment to your account. Well, you only made a $40 payment on a minimum payment on your card, but you just paid a $4 processing fee. That's 10%. So they're charging a 10%, that's like a 10-point transaction on a real estate house. No one would pay 10 points to buy a house. But you just paid 10 points to pay a credit card payment. So that's some of the things I'm trying to shine light on.
Extremely wise to know, again, both from the consumer standpoint as well as from the company that's charging us as consumers. How they do their business and how we should conduct our actions, Share with us again about the future that you're visioning, and then how you've structured your organization just to make an impact.
So I generally see sort of 7 stages of financial health that are not related to our biological age. And we cycle in and out of these things, meaning if we achieve one level, doesn't mean we're not subject to going backwards, right? Financial life, we go on this spectrum, and we've identified sort of 7 stages in the spectrum of financial, unhealth and financial health, and wealth accumulation or investing. How do we go from being credit payers to interest earners? And so that journey has 7 waypoints on it, the way we see it. And Better Bridge is trying to come into this and say, okay, we're going to democratize information and give it away for free. We're going to give away budgeting apps for free. We're going to give away online testing for your knowledge for free. You're not going to have a paywall for any content. And at every step that you're along this journey, the content, the testing, the apps, it's all going to be free. And what we're going to call on is the licensed financial service providers that are in our communities, mortgage brokers, real estate agents, insurance agents, certified financial planners. We're calling on them to join our Better Bridge network as volunteers. And what we want them to do is help us teach the seminars in the community and give away the information for free, to be the physical hands that are taking our books, taking our materials, having seminars out in the community. So in a community like Sacramento, we've already built a network of 5 professionals, 2 mortgage brokers, a real estate broker, an insurance agent, certified financial planner. And so we're already starting to host seminars at junior colleges, at different campuses, where we're presenting this information and giving away the books. So the vision is to multiply this across the country and sort of help people along this 7 waypoint journey, no matter where they are. Maybe they're living in total chaos right now. I've lived in chaos. I've lived with $140,000 of credit card debt, paying $5,000 a month in interest alone, not knowing how I was going to make the next mortgage payment. I've been there. So I know sort of what this experience is, and I just want to provide relief by democratizing the information and empowering local professionals who are morals first, who want to help, to go out in the community and teach this stuff for free and give away the material.
That's great. Well, I know that obviously myself and just getting to know you a little bit better, and then you being part of the Acquisition HQ family, as well as one of our founding members, I think it's my responsibility to partner with people that are doing good work in their communities, like yourself, that have created now this nonprofit that we as a community can get behind. So,
thank you.
With that being said, we look forward to our partnership,
Yeah.
both now and into the future, as you continue to grow your nonprofit into multiple cities and states. I see a vision for you, and hopefully, we can help you bring that to the next season.
Well, on that point, I'm going to talk about one more thing, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
A lot of people, we believe, who go on this journey, we believe a lot of people are going to self-select and opt out of being wage earners. We think a lot of people are going to be inspired to take control of their finances and set up their own businesses. So inside of Better Bridge, we're going to have the personal finance arm, and then we're going to have the small business academy arm that will teach people how to get your business license, get your first business insurance policy, get your EIN, get your first business checking account. We're going to give all that information away for free too. And I believe that those who actually pursue that path and succeed well, and they scale their business, I think they'll end up being members with you and me at your organization at Acquisition HQ. And I look forward to that too, because I think a lot of people are going to make their way that way.
Yeah. Well, we welcome it. And again, I wanted to shoot this interview because I know you as a person. I know you as one who has a heart to help, and has obviously created some success for yourself, and has some knowledge and experience in building a business, but also getting out of debt, and then also helping thousands of families like you did with Debt.help. But I think this is going to be really relevant. So thank you once again for joining us on the Acquisition HQ podcast. We look forward to shooting more podcasts just like this, out on-site locations with founders just like yourself. So make sure to follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you guys like today's episode, make sure to share this with somebody who may want to be interested in, number one, BetterBridge.org, the organization he's started, as well as the Acquisition HQ network. You can find us at acquisitionhq.co. We'll look forward to seeing you right over there.